Live from just south of the Windy City in Irvington, Illinois. Welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Fuel Grand National Series, live on your home for the Fuel Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. Live here on the NR2003, it's race number 6 of season number 9 of the Fuel Grand National Series. It's the Get Bent Grand Prix, presented by Xiaflex. We welcome everybody to tonight's coverage here of the Fuel Grand National Series, live from the Bent Twig Raceway here in Irvington, Illinois. My name is Trey Wright for the NASRN, joined alongside by Rich Roy and Kenny Compost for a 3-man booth here tonight. We are ready to get racing and get bent here tonight at one of the wildest tracks we've got in all of NR2003. 7 corners, all of them so very unique. Our third wild and kooky race in a row. Guys, we have no idea what to expect here tonight except for some chicanery. We're also going to be expecting a lot of jokes to be made here this evening as well.
Well, another thing you can also expect is chaos. This track is slick. We've seen guys sliding it all over the place in every part of the track. So a lot of hands-on driving, a lot of chaotic driving, and a lot of hoping and praying that these drivers don't get bent here at Bent Twig.
Certainly a lot, and Kenny, we were talking about a little bit earlier, just the amount of cars that we've got on track. You know, this is going to be a race where we have no idea what we're going to expect, but we do have a couple of ringers on track here tonight. Randall Coleman making his first points-paying start of the season for your All-Star race winner earlier on. Of course, Landon Lyle, who won race number 2 at Nashville about a month ago at this point. On the grid, pretty varying amount of talent here tonight, but it's going to be interesting to see how these guys traverse around here, Kenny.
Yeah, and I'll say this about the track. Anything from one track I've recently drove, it kind of has some similarities, or at least some, I guess you could say, a little bit of the basis of the Crystal Palace circuit, and Randall goes upside down.
Coleman upside down, the boss man for the Fast Racing League, one of the designers of the newly upcoming Coronado Street Course that we just debuted on NASCAR Racing 2003 season here a couple of days ago on the North American Sim Racing Network. Link for that stream can be found in the description box below. Almost 600 views on that stream already in the last couple of days, and quite a few people. Very exciting for Area 23 Track Designs to come out with the Coronado Street Course. That is right down the pipeline. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But plenty of drivers getting ready to go here tonight as Coleman gets dusted up with Anthony Luckadoo. His second consecutive road course race for the number 13 machine. Got 19 cars on track that have posted a time, and a couple of newcomers here tonight. Corey Stallhood in the 45, making his second ever start potentially here tonight in the 45 machine. Moving over from the 81 to the 45. And Yahir Alvarado in the 68. We saw him a little bit earlier on, as there is that 45 of Corey Stallhood. 2 career starts so far coming on the road courses. A lot of varying unknowns here tonight, guys.
Yeah, and I think the guys who are going to have the biggest advantage are the guys who run the road courses often, mainly Emi Scazzotto, because, well, this is was a half mile long. There's a lot right-hand turns. And a lot of unique braking zones. So I think Emmy's going to have a distinct advantage just because she knows how to drive the road courses. Obviously, Paula Hines is going to be a factor. But you also have to remember that a few drivers in the field do have a start here. Vincenzo Focasato, Ike Durbin, and Nicky Conti. So anything they have learned over from Solstice, when that used to be a thing, they may be able to bring over here. Landon Lyle, look through the entry list, also another road course specialist. Maybe not specialist, but he's good at them at least. So, a few big names who I think we don't usually see at the front of the field or aren't usually here might gravitate towards the top tonight.
It definitely could. And, you know, looking at our top 10 drivers right now in the standings, of course, Apollo Hyde, Landon Lyle currently setting the pedigree. Apollo just about 78 one-thousandths of a second away from netting a 21-second lap. Lyle, of course, we know how strong those two are, and Vincenzo Focusato in third. He's got that experience. Drew Fast in the fourth spot. RJ Bishop, an ace racer in that Dance Dance Revolution Supra, in spot number 6. First surprising driver we see inside the top 10. Tyler Stallhood, Will Goss all the way down in 8th for your current points leader. Speaking of that, we'll grab a look at the points standings. Coming into race number 6 of the season, tonight marks the halfway point through season number 9 of the Fuel Grand National Series. Sammy Schizato and Crystal Bennett, you round out your top 10. Currently, after a runner-up finish 1 week ago on the streets of Long Beach, California, 15th place finish for Apollo Hyde. Will Goss is now your points leader for our second points lead change of the season. Drew Fast, Vincenzo Focusato remain 3rd and 4th in the standings, with Dunn LaPrade in that 5th spot for the 74 machine. Not sure if we're gonna get an appearance from Dunn here tonight. We might get an appearance from Tate Dorsey coming in a little bit later. We'll see. Not a whole lot of drivers. I don't think we might get some late additions here tonight, with qualifying getting underway here in just a few moments. We'll roll back the server. But Ike Durbin, Emmy Schizato, Tyler Stolho, they all fell back after Dunn LaPrade got that win last week at Long Beach. Crystal Bennett and Blake Warren round out the top 10. Blake will not be on the track here tonight, but his brother Grant will be in attendance. RJ Bishop and the aforementioned Grant Warren round out of the top 12 as Anthony Luckadoo nearly sleeping with the fishes. Looks like time will wind down here in practice. Apollo Hyde will remain at the top of the charts, and she will. A 22.078, the fastest lap in practice of the 19 cars that'll come out on track here. We'll get practice ended up here in just a moment, but taking a look at the race analysis for tonight, 80 laps going on the chart at this half-mile, 7-turn road course. It's really not, I mean, what do you even really classify this track as, guys? You know, I don't know if it's necessarily a road course or just a short oval. You know, just taking a look at the wide track itself, you know, it's certainly got that short track feel to it, and there's only one right-hander that you don't really even take as a right-hander in, you know, as a whole. But it's got a lot of character, and I guess you could technically classify it as a road course, but overall, it is going to be a lot of fun here tonight as qualifying has gotten underway, and I believe we are going to roll back the server just so everybody will get in the correct number. So we saw Miskizato be in the other 90, or was not in the 97. That was Yahir Alvarado, who was in the 97 for a brief moment. So we're going to go ahead, redo the server. We'll get things underway here in just a brief moment, but qualifying getting underway in just a few seconds here, guys. Who do you think is going to end up taking pole position, and who do you guys think is going to end up getting the job done here tonight? What's going to be a fun race here at Bent Twig for race 6 of the season.
Qualifying probably is going to go to Apollo. Let's be fair here. Apollo has been attacking the curbs a lot harder than most people have been throughout practice, and has been gaining the most advantage out of everyone. We saw in practice that the curbs were biting a few people out, flipping them over because of the grip. So Apollo definitely has a good qualifying car. In the race, your best bet is taking the practice standings and throwing a dart at them, because this track is, I think, unlike anything anyone, for the most part, has raced before.
Yeah, it's very, very unique circumstances for what we're going to see here tonight for these drivers. Sammy Schizato will come out on track in the number 97 machine. We'll grab a look at it there, and just as we go back live, we're going to enter qualifying. So we'll go back into our hidey hole here for what is looking to be a grand total of 18 cars. I don't see Yahir Alvarado in the server yet. I believe they might just round things down to about only 18 or 19. We'll get the official number here after qualifying will get underway. But I know both of you guys were very excited to be in the booth for tonight's race, mostly because of how wild and crazy that we're going to expect. Again, this is a rare track where we don't really know what to expect. You go to a lot of the tracks we go to in the Grand National Series. Pocono, we know that's going to be long green flag runs after chaos on the restarts. At Long Beach, you know that it was going to be a little bit more chaotic because it's a street circuit. There's not a whole lot of experience for drivers there. But at a track like this, you know, it's got short track racing, endurance racing, and just whatever you want here written all over it as we have 4 minutes to go in qualifying. Randall Coleman, top of the charts right now with a 22.846 on his first lap out. Again, we have no idea what to expect, and that is the fun of tonight's race.
Expect the unexpected. Slick track no one really knows. The curbs are evil.
They absolutely certainly are, and we saw that here a lot tonight. Randall Coleman still with the top time in qualifying, and now Landon Lyle on his second lap, a 22.148. Apollo Hyde hasn't gone out in queue yet, so we'll have to wait for her to come out.
Apollo just almost set a 22 flat. Off by a thousand.
Oh my lord, 2/1000ths of a second away from jumping all the way up to the top of the chart. Well, she did jump to the top of the chart. She nearly ran the first 21-second lap that we've seen here tonight. That would have been huge. That might be huge if she's able to get it to go on her second lap. And that would really set her apart from everybody else here.
Ace Racer currently sitting 6th. I think we found what track Ace was looking forward to.
He definitely was. Right now, 17 cars have put down a lap time. 2:20 to go in qualifying. Right now, I'm surprised the majority of the field has put down a qualifying lap. We still got 2 minutes to go in queue. You know, that is going to give me an opportunity at least to maybe properly make a qualifying graphic here with 17 cars putting down a time. Right now it's Hyde, Lyle, and Focusado, your top group here.
Coleman and Bishop sit 4th and 5th. They were both in the San Diego race this past weekend. A track similar in how slick it is, and that's about the only similarity. However, that's probably more experience on slick track than most people have had all week.
Definitely, with 1:33 now to go in queue. Still just about almost everybody has put down a lap time, so we'll go ahead and take a quick break here. When we come back, it'll be happy hour for race number 6 of the season here for the Fuel Grand National Series. So we'll get underway from the Bent Twig Raceway here on the NESRN's coverage of the Fuel GN. And we are back here at the Bent Twig Raceway. Just a few moments to spare here before we'll get underway. We'll give everybody a quick look at the starting lineup for tonight. So Apollo Hyde takes the pole position in the 100 machine. 19 cars all out on track and getting ready to do 40 laps here at the Bent Twig Raceway. Landon Lyle will round out the front row. Vincenzo Focusato and Randall Coleman will be in row 2. Will be underway everywhere else. So we take a look at the track of the race analysis once again of this half-mile short road course. Landon Lyle backs it into the tire wall. Get just a sense of how crazy this track is with the track map. We got 7 corners out on track here at Bent Twig, and these cars are certainly showcasing it right now. They are ready to get bent. Both you guys were talking about a little bit earlier. We'll lock in our picks after qualifying. Who are your guys' picks to win the Get Bent Grand Prix presented by Xiaflex?
Mainly because he has raced here before, and definitely not because he writes my paycheck. Vincenzo Focusato looks to be I would say an even money favorite.
Kenny, how about you?
Tough one for me. It's a tough one. I've always expected Apollo to do great. I mean, it's almost every week Apollo does great.
Drivers, to your car.
Especially with like not just fastest time, but also I guess keeping out of the way most of the time.
Well, Apollo Hyde will start from the pole position. Vincenzo Focusato will start in third. Those two will start nose to tail for one another before we'll get underway and send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports. Another big thank you to everybody tuning in to tonight's broadcast here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Truly cannot do this without the help of you fans here at home. As we briefly go on board the 75 of Landon Lyle, Apollo Hyde, the pole sitter is gridded up, just waiting for Vincenzo Focusato as we send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to get race number 6 of the season underway from Bent Twig.
Drivers, start your engines!
19 cars come to life here on the back straightaway of Bent Twig. One final look at the starting lineup before we get underway. Apollo Hyde and Landon Lyle on the front row. Row 2, Randall Coleman, Vincenzo Focusato, RJ Bishop, and Ace Racer will round out the starting 6. Already going out of turn number 7, Apollo Hyde will lead them through the gears. The green flag is out and away. Let's get bent here tonight in Bent Twig.
Good start from the top 2, a bit squirrely in the back, but all things considered, Randall's off the course, but gets back on, no harm, no foul. Lyle going for the lead, entering this back stretch of sorts.
Everybody will make it out of turn 4 for the opening time, and Landon Lyle will go to the point in the 75, nearly spinning that car around, and the caution flag has come out. Crystal Bennett, who started this race in the 8th spot, has backed that car in between turn 6 and 7. The yellow flag will fly for the opening time here tonight.
Another thing to note, Nicky Conti went around in the back of the field. I think that might have been the cause for the caution, but Crystal was also parked up in that set of corners.
I could tell one problem that most of these drivers will have is that everything happens so fast, especially with the whole start. You have to act fast too. Well, try not to slow down too much with the other drivers.
So we'll take a look and see what happened to put us onto this first caution. Landon Lyle has led all 2 laps so far, and I was very surprised that we got to that point, that we got as far as we did up until our first caution of the night. We'll see just exactly what happened here as Crystal Bennett started this race on the outside of row 4. We'll take a look and see. I believe may have got a little help from Ace Racer. Oh, Ace just cut the corner of turn 6 a little too hard, and I believe the caution flag may have been out already.
Yeah, in the back, Drew Fast and the 68 got into Nikki and spun her out.
So we'll see the true cause of the caution. This was going up through the opening 4 set of corners. A little tap there from Nikki and a turn officially around, so that is what ultimately brought out the caution initially. We'll go back here once again as Crystal goes around in that Clown Vomit 84 car. Meanwhile, green flag already back out and away here as we go up the hill. Very short, brief caution periods and around is Alvarado. You hear Alvarado will spin sideways, and the caution flag comes out for the second time tonight. Corey Stallhood, in his second career start in the Fuel Grand National Series, also involved. Well, guys, I believe we've had maybe about 3/4 of a mile of green flag racing so far, and 2.5 laps complete as Anthony Luckadoo nearly spinning under this caution period.
Turn was at 3. That's going to be a difficult spot. Very fast set of corners, followed by a heavy braking zone, and it's caught out Drew in the first part of this race, and now it's caught out the 45. Corey Stallhood. Looks like he just misjudged 68's braking zone and ran to the back of him.
Alvarado, we'll see how he would brake very early, and Corey had just no idea that he was going to slam on the brakes there. Again, you know, with drivers that don't have a whole lot of experience at a track like this, you know, Alvarado came in the server lead. He was having connectivity issues earlier on. And, you know, I'm not sure. That may have been a combination of two relatively inexperienced drivers getting together, one braking a little too early and one braking way too late.
I am going to go on the side of 6 as we were grading up to doubling up to green. 68 was slowing up for the corner, just making sure everything was easy, and Corey just overcooked it.
Well, the good news about this track is that since it is a road course, we only get 2-lap caution period, so we're right back into the order. Here we go. Landon Lyle has led all 5 laps so far, make that all 6 laps completed. We're back underway. Lyle off the curbs. We got one car partially sideways. That was Tyler Stallhood. Going up through the S's goes the field. Emi Schizzato doing a little agricultural work. Stallhood just got a little bit sideways.
Yeah, here's around again.
Alvarado around. That's right in front of the grid. Caution number 3 on the speedway. And Landon Lyle will lead them back, I believe. Since we've got 3 consecutive restarts where we had a caution flag, we'll go into single file restarts as the pace car doing a little Tony Hawk Pro Skater 9 kickflip.
68 has retired.
Off the embankment, and you hear Alvarado, only 5 laps into the season so far, has retired from the race, make it 18 cars remaining on the grid. Take a look and see what happened here really quick.
Good luck explaining this one.
We'll see as he was backed sideways right before we even took the a little bit of a jam up right off of the restart, and I don't know where Buddy is going. He may have just locked up the steering there. We'll quickly see what happened. I don't know what happened. Anthony Luckadoo broke, and that just jammed up everybody right on the restart. I don't know what to say about that, guys. Nicky Conti's down the pit lane. We'll get an extended caution period. Or no, we're going to go back racing.
No. Yeah, they threw the green flag in that last turn, and it's tight. It's half the field's accelerating, half the field's still trying to make the turn. As we are. Go ahead.
It seems that we're all going single file now after all those cautions.
Well, good news for Will Goss. He's moved up into the 2nd spot after starting this race deep in the field in 8th. As green flag back out and away. Single file for the rest of the race restart-wise. We'll see if we can get some solid green flag racing. Apollo Hyde has dropped back into the 3rd spot. Vincenzo Focusato 4th, and RJ Bishop currently carrying the torch for the Warren Wentz Racing cars. He's got the top 5. Emi Schizzato, and nearly got punted there by the 4 of Drew Fast over the wall, and around goes the 60 and the 86. They're able to keep it relatively pointed in the right direction, and the caution flag will come back out as Ike Durbin pinballing with the 60 of Trek Togger going through turn 6.
No, we're not done wrecking. Corey just spun Luckadoo out.
Anthony Luckadoo around along with the 45. Caution number 4 on the boards. I believe we did get a green flag lap logged in. I believe we have, as the pace car dances on top of Anthony Luckadoo, and Landon Lyle will continue to hold on to the lead. We'll take a look at the replay. Very tough start to the race for a lot of these drivers. We'll see what happened, because we saw what happened between the 86 and the 60 live. Got a quick
I think
gander.
the caution might be for behind them. Luckadoo went wide and merged back into the circuit. However, the 17 happened to be at the same spot he was merging at.
Luckadoo was running right along with Stallhood. Luckadoo just overcooks the corner and just breaks right in the middle of turn 7. Nothing Corey could do. $18 cars still out on track, and we're still searching for our first relatively decent run of green flag racing. Good thing about Bent Twig here tonight is we get a good look at the race analysis. Doesn't look like tire wear is going to be that big of a factor. I believe Apollo Hyde maybe went about 71 laps before the tire blew in practice. And fuel's not going to really be that big of a factor either, so everybody is going to have to make at least one set of pit stops.
If we keep on stop-starting, then fuel won't be an issue as green flag's in the way.
Lyle, Goss, Hyde, Focusato, and Bishop, your top 5 going right back through the gearbox. Double file. Tyler Stallhood trying to maneuver around the 33 of Grant Warren. Emmy Schizato a little sideways, and around goes the 33. And that's going to jam up everybody in the back of the field. Corey Stallhood going through the fire and flames. Caution flag number 5, out and away. Ace Racer around in between turns 6 and 7. My mistake, that was between turns 5 and 6. And a lot of bench sheet metal in this race, and we're once again under the caution flag. This has certainly been a very tricky track for these drivers to try and maneuver their way around. And that all got started midway through, I believe. Corey Stallhood bumps into the 33 of Grant Warren under the caution flag. I think Corey was just trying to hop on the brakes. We'll see what happened here. This was as they were going 3 wide. Emmy Schizato making it 3 wide on the outside for a brief moment. And Grant just got tapped from the 97, and that jammed up everybody. How about Corey Stallhood? He picked up several spots in the 45. And he's going to restart this race inside the top 10. Ace Racer got dumped from behind by the 13.
It appears that was also partially caused by Grant clipping the curb in 3 as we are on the pace car.
Do have some cars coming down the pit lane. I'm very surprised that we only get 1 lap caution periods here, based on just the size of the speedway.
If we come back next season, I have a feeling that might change.
That will definitely change. Half of the field still just trying to catch back up. Meanwhile, green flag back out and away. Landon Lyle. He's led all 15 laps so far. Will Goss looking for a way to get around the 75. And up towards the front of the field inside the top 10. It's been relatively clean for the most part. But in the back, as we see Luckadoo breaking partially sideways. How about Corbin Winston, the 88, starting to make his way up north through the pack as everybody came down the pit lane. Trying to come down, Luckadoo in there, and now contact. Corbin Wentz into the Armco, along with Drew Fast in the 4. Corbin will get safely out of the way and will remain green. Remember, cautions are manual, so you have to call a caution flag here in fuel over the team speak for the caution flag to officially come out. But now Lyle and Goss, 1-2, and Apollo Hyde in this championship battle between Goss and Hyde. Trying to make things going. And only a 22-point lead coming into tonight. 1 car around. That was Crystal Bennett. Going sideways in turn 7. Will remain green for the time being. Top 5 have all pulled away. Lyle, Goss, Hyde. Trying to move underneath the 82. Focusato has dropped back a little bit, but he remains in 4th. And Tyler Stallhood rounds out the top 5. And Emmy Schizato in the starting 6 doing a little Tokyo drift through the S's.
Well, Goss has made a mistake. Apollo is going to try to capitalize and can't do so. Goss hit the curb a bit, and that's what sent him up the track, though he still was on the second for now, but he is smoking those tires a lot more than he would like. Yeah, and hitting the curbing has been a really big issue for a lot of drivers here tonight, as we'll take a look on board with Apollo Hyde, as we'll take you for a couple of laps around the Bent Twig Raceway. 1 car round, big stack up for these drivers coming through here. Everybody is Luckadoo in the middle, and now Will Goss get spun sideways. Hyde in it.
We saw the tail end of that as we were on board with Apollo Hyde. I forgot to try and figure out how to get out of free cam. And Luckadoo has benched his car on the embankment, and that'll be the end of the night for the 13.
Oh wow, that's a big stack up. So, you'll see on the replay, but Randall hit the curb, sends him to the 13, nowhere for Trek or, who is that? Drew fast to go, and that's what caused the caution.
We'll take a look at just what happened here. You heard Rich describe it. He and Trek were side by side. This is right behind Anthony Luckadoo's 13 machine. Luckadoo just chopped the 17. Hard into the wall goes the 17. And Randall Coleman hard into the Armco. We look back here. Luckadoo was driving backwards, just trying to grab the gears. The leaders were flying through. He takes out Will Goss and Apollo Hyde. I believe those two will get their positions back.
No, because it is race back, because it is a road course.
Well, that's a very tough break for both those drivers. Luckadoo will take his car to the garage area, and that's really going to throw a monkey wrench into things as those two came down the pit lane. They're going to restart this race from the tail of the field. And Landon Lyles, two biggest pieces of competition, have been relegated to the back of the pack. Green flag out and away. Lyles, Schizato, Focusato, Stallhood, and Corey Stallhood inside the top 5.
There was a stack in the back. I think someone got loose on the restart.
That was Emmy Schizato. Lights Motors action there out of that Mustang. She cuts the corner and gets run over by the 88 upside down going Schizato. Caution flag number 7 out on the speedway. And into the Xiaflex number 88 machine. Nothing either of them could do, and I believe Corbin Wentz will call it a night as well. He'll join Anthony Luckadoo and Yahir Alvarado in the garage area. It has been a night with a lot of these drivers, and we're under the caution flag for the 7th time. And, you know, that's really, when it comes to contact racing here in NR2003, this has been a talking point all throughout these last couple of years, and especially, or just this last year or so. This all got started with Schizato driving through the gravel, nearly flipping that car up once, or over once already, going up the hill, getting clipped there by the 88, and upside down goes the 97.
Both drivers look like they're going for the same piece of real estate at the same time. Unfortunately, cars are a solid object. Real, I can't. No one can be pinned on that one. I think that's a racing deal.
Lights are off on the pace car once more. Schizato still getting some repairs. She'll join from the rear end of the field after just doing a single flip in that Mustang, factory Mustang. No changes up front, though, as Landon Lyles led all 26 laps on the night. It'll be 54 to go, and we go back through the gears here in a moment under a 7th caution flag. Now wrapping up caution number 7. Lyle, Focusato, Stallhood, Bishop, and Stallhood, your top 5. Glad to see the Stallhood brothers out in full force, and same thing with Ace Racer. Started in 6th, currently in the 6th spot. And Apollo Hyde and Will Goss trying to make their way back up through. We got into one car nearly spinning. That was RJ Bishop, I believe, who went partially sideways through the corner.
I know Ace Racer clipped the 45.
And Trek Togger around in the back of the field. He is going to lose some ground. We're under the caution flag once again. And you were talking about it, Rich. The stop-and-go kind of racing is really playing into the favor of drivers that are staying out. You know, just look at Landon Lyle. I think we've maybe only ran a handful of green flag laps, but he has led every single lap so far. Could be leading at halfway here relatively shortly.
That caution was caused by Goss clipping the curb and spinning him out on the track. But yeah, Landon is not using as much tires with all the stop and start racing. And obviously, if we're under caution half the time, fuel is a non-factor.
We'll get a quick look here as that was a little bit of aggressive driving from Will. He was trying to dive it in. He did hit the curb. Actually, it was Drew Fast that hit him, and Will Goss kind of finished off Trek in that suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse. Lakoya doing a 360.
Lakoya, yeah.
Lakoya getting back underway.
It's a bit goofy seeing the pace car right over the embankment and then just go back under it like nothing happened.
Do have some cars coming down the pit lane. RJ Bishop will come down to put on some fresh Goodyears, as will one other driver. I believe that was Drew Fast. Lap Car Enterprises has certainly had an eventful day here today. Of course, Crystal Bennett causing caution number 1. Drew Fast involved in our most recent yellow flag. Tyler Stallhood has been running really well. I know the second I say that, he is going to end up in the catch fence or something like that, as you get a good look at
The
it.
commentator curse.
Yeah.
Trust me, it does not matter if it's real-life sports, online racing, or heck, even offline racing. You mention a statistic, and it's going to go the wrong direction. The commentator's curse is not only real, it listens to you. It's actively listening to the broadcast, and it happens almost within the first couple of laps or moments here as Corey Stallhood and Ace Racer, getting pretty well to know each other, would go on board with a Dance Dance Revolution Camry. 2 Toyotas on the grid here tonight for Landon Lyle and the 64 of Ace Racer.
Right behind Ace Racer are your top 2 in points. Paula Hyde and Will Gospo trying to make their way through the field after their contact with Luckadoo.
Hyde trying to maneuver around the 84 of Bennett. Bennett in that clown vomit car. How about some 2-wheeling action from Will Goss? That's Supercuts Camaro doing a super jump as they'll go through, thundering through turn 5. Everybody hitting the brakes, going through 6 and 7. Back to the front, Vincenzo Focasato right on the back end of the 75 car, and Tyler Stallhood making this a menage a trois for the race lead. As Corey Stallhood has dropped a little bit back.
Landon spoke the tires. Vince was all over him, but I think he was actually too close to make a move, which sounds weird. But if you're too close to someone, they make a mistake, you have to let off, or else you will.
Stallhood in the outside wall off the corner. He'll keep things straight and remain in this battle.
We have a caution.
Yellow flag back out. I believe it is that
No.
Lycoya 60. No, the caution flag is not out.
No, okay. I saw yellow on the baselines. My apologies.
Will remain green. The top 3 have pulled away from everybody else. Hyde right in the back end of Corey Stallhood, trying to pick off one Stallhood brother. I didn't realize that 45 is also running a Supra, so 3 Supras on the grid. Currently running 1st, 4th, and now in the 6th position once again is Ace Racer. Crystal Bennett nearly getting in the back end of that Toyota. Will Goss off the track, doing some agricultural work. He'll keep things back on the road in that Supercuts Camaro.
He is trying to keep pace with Apollo, and he's making a little
Ace Racer partially sideways out of turn 7. He's able to hold on, but he's going to lose a lot of time. Goss looking for a ledge around that 64, and Randall Coleman might get the 2-for-1 Wednesday night special. A little too far back. Racer breaking early in the corner. That's going to open up the door for Goss. And Ace Racer beginning to fall back a little bit. Hello, Randall Coleman spins himself out. In turn 6 he goes. He'll keep things back in the right direction. He nearly cold clocks RJ Bishop and Drew Fast.
Hit the curb, trying to get time.
And he smacked the wall off 7 there. An eventful 36th lap of the race for the Fast Racing Director and your All-Star Race winner from about 8 weeks ago. Hello, RJ Bishop. 2-wheeling that Ally Camaro. He lands it back on all 4s. That's not the thumbnail for this race. I don't know what will be. Now we're starting to see some pretty good racing here today. Meanwhile, back at the front has been the Landon Lyle show for all 37 laps so far. Back here, Tyler Stallhood trying to get around this 100. And Apollo Hyde will maneuver around this one machine. Moves her up into the 3rd spot, but the top 2 have pulled away immensely. With Lyle and Focasato on top of one another, you go on board with the Momo Mazda. He might have a ledge, not able to drive around it again. You can tell by not only just seeing on the outside of these cars, but on the onboards as well, just how rough these guys are running. These suspensions and springs on these cars are being absolutely brutalized. Nearly up to the back bumper of the 75 was Focasato. For the first time today, we're catching up to lap traffic. Focasato has been really good through the opening S section on the course, but Landon Lyle through turns 5 through 7, that's really been his bright spot on the course. So both these cars really good on opposite ends of the speedway. Trying to lunge in there, spin of the tires was the 75.
Apollo just ate a half a second out of the top 2, and he might do it, or she might do it more, because she is I think she's the quickest car on the racetrack, and these two.
She is a coming. She's running a 22.596, and the
out.
yellow flag is back out. Crystal Bennett around for the 3rd time tonight. Our 9th caution flag of the evening after our longest green flag run of, I believe, we logged about 15 laps in that stint.
That sounds about right.
Really good green flag racing. We might see these guys come down the pit lane potentially.
Same thing we saw earlier. Different braking zones into turn 3. Nikki was taking it a bit easier. Nikki Honti, that is, and Crystal ran into the. Crystal ran into the back rear, and then Scazzotto finished off the A4.
Well, plenty of cars down the pit lane will follow along with Landon Lyle, has led 42 laps tonight. And they are just going to be the money stop for these drivers. It's Tyler Stallhood, Corey Stallhood, Ace Racer, the 3 cars to stay out. Same thing with Trek Togger, who was on the tail end of the lead lap. So they're going to stay out here. And I believe we're going to get this race restarted immediately. So Trek Togger will come down the pit lane. He's one of the drivers. He's the only driver, in fact, that's pitting on Gilligan's Island. But 3 cars staying out, the Stallhood brothers and Ace Racer. Landon Lyle and company coming back out on track. Vincenzo Focusato lost a spot to Apollo Hyde. Green flag back out and away. Really good jump for the top 3 ahead of everybody else. And Stallhood, Tyler Stallhood ahead of his brother Corey, and Ace Racer looking to go down and up to the inside. Nearly gets the 45. He does get the 45. Here comes Landon Lyle. Lyle going to have enough time to maneuver around the 64. The dominant car of the night punts him out of the way. Nearly into the Armco as Lyle will remain green. Everybody remains straight.
Well, Goss has spun out of the race, lack of 4th gear. But that was an aggressive move made by Landon. I think he's trying to get back up. I mean, he is trying to get back up to the 1 car. He doesn't know if the 1 is to pit again. Smoking the tires is not helping his case, as Corey Stallhood is now playing defense for his brother.
Corey just trying to play as that rear tail gunner, and we've seen it all tonight. Passing has been very super difficult, but Landon Lyle to the inside of the 45, not able to get the run. Through 1 they go, and Corey will just move on over. Landon Lyle, again, you look at these lap times. Tyler Stallhood the last time by a 23.8. Landon Lyle a 23.19. A full 3/4 of a second faster than Tyler Stallhood, but Apollo Hyde right behind these drivers as well with 34 to go.
Behind them, about for 5th, Ace Racer is giving Focusato fits. Almost chopped the nose off of the Rental Italian, but Focusato is going to get around the 64 car, and now it's going to try to run down, Corey Stallhood, as Landon Lyle has caught the bumper of Stallhood.
Oh, and Stallhood lost the edge of the car going out of turn 7. That'll open up the door for Landon Lyle. Dominant car of the night back out front. That Lycoya Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse car, and Stallhood gets spun. The 2 league admins spin each other out. Corey Stallhood also with issues. And the caution flag will, in fact, come out, racing it back to the line. It'll be won by Landon Lyle. Stallhood will remain in 3rd. Ace Racer will be 4th. Oh, and getting punted out of the way there was Apollo. This is a very slick track. We talked about it a lot during practice. And we've been seeing a lot here tonight.
Apollo got, Apollo got pinched by Tyler. That's what sent Stallhood around. Stallhood running to the back into the 100 under caution. Looks like he didn't know the pace car was there.
Well, Stallhood will come down the pit lane, and we'll take a quick look and see what happened. As this was coming out of turn 4 of the back straightaway. Hyde was on the curbing with that 1 car and just tapped him around. That does constitute as a multi, and Vincenzo Focusato got into the 45 of Corey Stallhood. Stallhood will come down the pit lane, as will Vincenzo Focusato, but we got 31 to go. And passing, like we talked about, has been very difficult all throughout tonight's race. Now, Landon Lyle has led 43 laps, will lead his 44th, I should say, this next time by. Camaro pace car back down the pit lane. And will be Lyle, Hyde, Racer, Drew Fast, and Ike Durbin around out the top 5. Racer just trying to remain out there on those older tires, and he'll immediately thunder down to the inside. Everybody's trying to get around that DDR 64. He nearly clips the 4 car. Very tight coming out of turn 4. Back into turn 5 will go the field, and meanwhile Hyde and Lyle will shed the gloves. They're going to look to chuck some knucks here coming around turn 7. Lyle will lead by 2 car lengths, looking to make it 3 car lengths coming out of this section. Hyde running really well through the opening set of S's with 30 to go. Again, it's been that back end of the course between turns 5 through 7 that has been Landon Lyle's best part of the track here tonight. Apollo Hyde still just trying to figure out that section. Lyle will gain half a car length there on the 100. We go on board with Apollo.
It appears to be me. No, he's rolling again.
Talked about earlier, Will Goss out of the race. 16 car, may they make that 14 cars. Will remain on track here with 28. Next time by will be 27 to go here at Bent Twig. Both these drivers racing really, really aggressively. Lyle self-spins the 75. What a save out of that car. He's able to hold on to it. Apollo Hyde will take the lead. What a save out of Landon Lyle. And Drew Fast has made his way into the 3rd spot after all of that, and Apollo Hyde on point.
I think that we're going to see Apollo super late. Apollo has had to pass this car all night long. The issue is she's been stuck in traffic. Quick note, some of you might have noticed Ike Durbin has fallen from 4th. A mistake in turn 6 has cost him. He was facing backwards and now is on the verge of getting put a lap down.
Currently the last car on the lead lap in 14th. A tough afternoon and evening for Emmy Schizzato.
Ace Racer also sideways in turn 7 as they get passed by RJ Bishop.
Bishop will move inside the top 5. He'll move into 4th, I should say. Racer will remain in the top 5, caboosing that area, and Vincenzo Focasato starting to make his way back through the pack, and he's got the freshest tires of anybody on track right now. Same with him and the one of Tyler Stallhood, who goes around outside of turn 4, trying to smoke the tires to get some grip back in that RCA Charger. What do we talk about? The commentator's curse? Hyde is closing in on the 97 and the 86, trying to put both of them 1 lap down, and catching up to lap traffic has not been something we've seen yet here tonight. So they're going to go side by side. Durbin will just get out of the way of Apollo, and Emmy bouncing all over the place in the 97. Still out in front of Apollo. Hyde just trying to move underneath that Ford. You got Corey Stallhood in front of these cars. Same thing with Trek Togger.
Here's the thing with Schizzato, and I guess Corey, but Corey's moved out of the way.
He nearly got railroaded by the 75.
Emmy has every right to stay and fight on the lead lap. She is still on the lead lap. If a caution comes out, hypothetically, she can be back in this thing. I know Ike and Corey moved out of the way, but I think those cars have, they've been not handling right all night, and I just don't think they want to cause
Landon got right to the back end of that 100. These cars are driving terrible right now, but this is so much fun. So finally get around the 97 and the 60, and the top 2 have pulled away from Drew Fast, who will fall back in the clutches of nobody. RJ Bishop trying to join this parade, but what a match race this has turned out to be. Coming around 20 laps to go. Both these drivers looking for their 2nd wins of the season, looking to become the first multi-time winner in Season 9. Hyde won 2 weeks ago at the Pocono Raceway, and Landon Lyle won a month ago at the Nashville Superspeedway.
That is that I didn't think I'd hear. I thought we had one already. Oh, and Nicky Conti's around. Caution is out.
Caution out on the speedway for the 11th time tonight. Another long green flag run. That time about 12 laps. Will change things once again with 19 to go. And Rich, this has really been the tale of 2 different halves of this race, because after we had a couple people retire from the race after a caution parade earlier on, we've seen some really good green flag racing, and especially between Apollo Hyde and Landon Lyle, and have to see if we get any pit stops. We will not.
Oh.
Nicky Conti spinning around.
I actually have no idea what Nicky was doing.
RJ Bishop down the pit lane. Same with the Stolhood brothers and Durbin, as well as Conti, and try and get as quick of a look as we can to see what happened to Nikki right at the front straightaway. I believe she may have just looped that car around. No, a little contact there from the one of Tyler Stolhood. That was netcode through and through.
Yeah, but I think that's been helping these green flag runs is once we got a few laps into the tires and a few cycles, with how we're doing cautions, the field has been spread out when we went to take the green. So that's, I think, the huge part of it, as Apollo Hyde leads the field to the green flag. Top 5 is Hyde, Lyle, Fast, Focusato, and Racer.
Remember, Focusato has got the best rubber of anybody out on track right now that is inside the top 5. Hyde currently leading, Lyle right behind the 100, and Drew Fast trying to make his way up through the grid. We had one car nearly a dangerous situation as Grant Warren got swarmed by Schizato and Bennett. Emmy trying to drive her way back through after getting a gift with that lap, and Drew Fast onto the embankment. He's able to hold on for the time being, but he'll lose a spot. Car 4 going back into position number 4, and Vin Focusato back inside the podium in that 37 to Landon Lyle. Just trying to chase down what has been a very quick 100 Wookmobile of Apollo Hyde. The back end of this race, and Landon Lyle starting to lose a lot of ground to that 100 Subaru.
He was a 10th slower than Apollo that time by, but Focusato was a 10th quicker than the 100 that last time by. I think Lyle is smoking his stuff.
He's losing a lot of rear end grip by the looks of it.
I think Apollo's Apollo might be in the same boat because Focusato was closer than that time by.
Focusato did run marginally. Hyde did have the fastest lap of anybody that last time by, running a 22.59. So she is definitely the fastest car out on track with 14 to go. Landon, again, you saw it right there. He's just smoking the rears. He's just trying to get to the back end of that 100 car. Corey Stolhood around on the back straightaway. We'll keep things green for now. A really good job for most of these drivers just getting the heck out of the way when called upon. And he's going to be in the way of these leaders, and the yellow flag has come out. Tyler Stolhood around in the sand trap of turn 1. Right as Apollo Hyde had put Corey Stolhood down a lap, he's going to get in the back end of that Wookmobile. But keeping it straight there was Apollo, and we'll see what happened.
All right, a few things that have happened. The 45 was slow because they made contact with the 48 car. The caution is for Crystal Bennett and the 64 making contact.
So we'll see here as Bennett is around the corner and just chopping the front end, the back end off the 84 is ace racer Grant Warren. Also involved in the caution flag out for the 12th time tonight.
Trent Togger, lucky dog.
Togger will get his lap back.
If we're being appropriate, fun fact, it's now called the relief lap. I learned that over the San Diego weekend.
Huh. I guess since Aaron's isn't technically a NASCAR sponsor anymore, that makes sense.
It is sponsored by the National Debt Relief.
Gotcha. It's still going to be the lucky dog. It's always going to be the lucky dog.
You can't change it, yeah.
But Apollo Hyde has been nowhere near that lucky dog spot here tonight. She's led 17 laps coming around to this time by. It'll be 10 laps to go. The point of no return with 3 to go here on the winding road course of Bent Twig, and the green flag back out and away. Hyde and Lyle sliding through turn 1, trying to make up as much ground as he can. He had to jump on the brakes to avoid pile driving into the back end of that Wookmobile Subaru. Focusato waiting for these drivers to just make any sort of mistake. This has been Lyle's best part of the track. He smokes the rears once again. 9 laps to go. How about Emmy Schizato inside the top 5, and she'll go to 4. Self-spin out of the 4 Drew Fast. He is going to lose all those spots, and just as we were talking about her, Emmy Schizato 1 spot away from getting a potential podium finish if we get another caution flag, and we will.
I think Tyler Stallhart and RJ Bishop have made contact, and I would be correct. Turn 3, same story, different verse. RJ breaks early. Tyler sees an opportunity to make a spot, hits the curb, and dumps the poor nerd out of the way.
And you'll see it right here on your screen. RJ, yeah, a little early break in there, and Stallhood just pops it out. Like you said, RJ a little bit of a nerd maneuver there, but he's able to get that ally Camaro backfired and going. You can't call him too much of a nerd since he had that wicked two-wheelie moment earlier in the race.
Fair enough.
He is going to fall back to the last car on the lead lap. 11 cars now on the lead lap. Nicky Conti, I believe, will get the free pass after all of this.
So, top 3 are... Actually, top 3 is Hyde, Lyle, and Focusato. I think Focusato has the better car, at least 3. I know that sounds a bit biased considering who I drive for, but he has the fresher tires. The issue is Landon Lyle is just quick enough to stay ahead of him. And while we're talking about the top 3, let's talk about 4th and 5th, Schizato and Ace Racer. Schizato's been deep in the field all day, nice recovery drive, and Ace Racer, despite the trials and tribulations they've been through, are having a decent run as they run 5th.
I will say, as the green flag back out and away, 6 laps to go, Emi Schizato does have the freshest rubber of anybody inside the top 5. Watch out for this 97 car. With the up and down day that she has had to potentially get a podium finish here tonight. Meanwhile, back up front, it's Apollo Hyde still trying to hold on here, coming around. 5 laps to go. This next time by here from Bent Twig and Landon Lyle, sending it in deeper and deeper every so lap. He smoked the rears a ton, coming through 7. That might be the race right there. Focusato just trying to climb around him, but we are within the ledge of potentially getting one more caution flag before it's all said and done here tonight at Bent Twig. Lyle has been so good tonight, dominated the first half of the race, led 47 laps. But ever since then, it's been Apollo Hyde who has led now 23 laps with 4 now to go here on the board at Bent Twig. Talked about Emi Schizato, just the recovery that she has had here tonight. Inside that 4th spot after getting the lucky dog only a handful of laps ago. Lyle trying to stuff it in like he's at Pizza Hut. 3 laps ago, we're at the point of no return. No more caution flags here at Bent Twig. It's all or nothing for the final mile and a half, and Apollo Hyde continues to lead.
Wen can get his nose to the bumper, but he can't get it underneath the bumper of the 100, which is what he needs to do if he wants to have any chance. But both cars are sliding it through turn 5. Landon even sliding in turn 7, 2 to go, and he's in the wall.
Sticks high in the air, 2 laps to go, and Lyle now 2 car lengths back. He's still just trying to find a ledge around that 100 Subaru. He's able to get to the back bumper. We'll see if he uses the chrome horn. And if these two do get together here in this final lap, Vincenzo Focusato waiting in the wings. He can smell blood in the water. Same thing with Landon Lyle. White flag in the air one more time around the Bent Twig Raceway for Apollo Hyde. Lyle having 6 more corners. He is drifting it around. He's all the way on the outside. That might cost him the win. It's going to cost him 2nd as well. He and Focusato door slamming down the back straightaway. That's going to do it. The fat lady's going to sing for the win as off turn 7. Around in the back was Landon Lyle. Apollo Hyde will win the Ghent Bent Grand Prix. A big stack up back in there. And this battle for 3rd. Who's going to get it? In the fire and flames, Drew Fast will get the 3rd spot as Landon Lyle becoming Hurricane Carson Hocevar in the late stages. Nicky Conti flips the 85 upside down past the start-finish line.
Bishop and Racer round up the top 5. Landon Lyle is going to set 6th. That is not going to stand. I will tell you that right now.
We'll have to see what happened after the post-race burnout. Something about Apollo Hyde winning wild races. She will go ahead and get her 2nd win of the season. And that will bring her right back into the points lead, with Wilcox having his issues earlier on tonight as Corey Stallhood nearly cold clocks the 100 car. And that idle Gateway Wilkmobile Subaru burning it down on the front straightaway here at Bent Twig. Apollo Hyde, your winner of the Ghent Bent Grand Prix, presented by Xiaflex. She's going to park that 100 Subaru right at the start-finish line. Getting the job done for her second win of the season. This fight for the championship right back in full control of Apollo Hyde here. And guys, we definitely have quite the race to go over after what can only be described as one of the wildest races that we're going to ever see here in the Fuel Grand National Series. Wow is the only thing that I've got to say.
Well, let's look on the bright side of everything. Only out of our 5 retirements, 4 of them went out. Actually, I don't think anyone went out because of crash damage. I think the 17, 88, 13, and 68 all went out just because they were many laps down and Goss broke 4th gear. So, yeah, it was a bit of a caution fest at times, but everyone kept their cars mostly clean. I think most of the incidents were just dive bombs going wrong.
Definitely was, and we'll go ahead and take a quick look at what happened during that final lap sequence there, particularly for Landon Lyle here on lap 80.
So, we noted that Landon was smoking the tires quite often, and I have a feeling he overheated them because he goes sailing into turn 1. Trying to catch the Apollo. He's going to let Bogusad get underneath of him, and even then, he's not in full control of his car. He is sliding it. And then, of course, overheated right rears, back end steps out, he spins it around.
He blew a right front tire as well. So that's what really contributed to the whole stack up we saw late in the running, as you see Nicky Conti flip that 85 car upside down.
I'm looking at it now. He might get away with a penalty, but he also did pull right in front of Emi Scazzato, which Scazzato is probably not going to be impressed with, and I'm going to be honest, she has every right to not be happy with that.
Absolutely, and we'll get the official confirmation on things right now, but the way things stand, we do know first and second are Apollo Hyde and Vincenzo Focusato. We'll have to see if Drew Fast will be credited with the 3rd place finish, and we'll get you all the official standings on the other side of this break. But we're going to take a quick timeout, get everything unpacked and unsorted, and when we come back, it'll be time for our post-race interviews after a wild race at the Bent Twig Raceway, with Apollo Hyde getting win number 2 of season number 9. She'll gain the win and the points lead after the Get Bent Grand Prix, presented by Xiaflex. We'll be back here in just a couple of moments here on the NESRN. Well, to say that this preceding Fuel Grand National Series race, the Bent Twig Raceway, was wild would be a massive understatement. 13 cautions on the board. And after the dust settles, Paulo Hyde gets her second win of the season in the Get Bent Grand Prix presented by Xiaflex here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Trey Wright, Rich Roy, and Kenny Compros bringing you the action here tonight. Guys, we finally get to take a deep breath after all of that, after a very short race, about 45 to 50 minutes in length, all things considered. And your initial thoughts and thoughts and figures about just what that race was here tonight.
Well, I was right about chaos. So, chaotic. That in one word. But it was a very entertaining race. Very good car control on hand. Very good duel at the finish. And can't wait to see what these podium finishers have to say about it, because I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot of interesting thoughts about it.
We're definitely going to hear some interesting thoughts from our podium, and we'll go ahead and clarify the podium where what we thought was in fact true. So Drew Fast right now is being credited with a third-place finish, and we talked with Tyler Stolhood and believe that should be confirmed based on initial review. Everything looks right in order, so Rich Roy, or rather, not Rich Roy, Rich Roy's commentating with us in the booth. Drew Fast will be awarded a third-place finish, and we'll talk with him here in just a few seconds.
I would love a podium. That would be nice.
Yeah, hey, a podium here, especially all things considered that most of these drivers went through here tonight. A podium is definitely nothing to sneeze at, as we'll bring the driver, the number 4 Valvoline Lap Car Enterprises Dodge, into the broadcast booth. Mr. Drew Fast, you got a copy of us here tonight?
Sure do. What's up?
Well, certainly a lot of up and down for you here this evening, and we'll start with the ups, getting a third-place finish here tonight after everything that you went through. Talk about just, if you had to describe this race in a single word, besides chaotic, how would you describe it?
I don't think there's a better word to describe it other than just chaos. Chaos.
Well, it was definitely it was definitely chaotic, but it
was an experience. We'll go with that.
I think, all right, experiences, we'll put that on the board, but it was certainly the tale of two different races here tonight. You had the first half of the race, which was a 9-lap caution parade, where I think we only got maybe about 3 or 4 true natural green flag laps in the race. But after that, it was, I think we had 2 separate instances where we had 15-lap green flag runs. I think we had a 20-lap green flag run somewhere at the end. And overall, really, things really calmed down towards the end. But going into that final lap, you're running in the 5th spot at the time. You see Lando Lyle break sideways, and just what goes through your head?
Honestly, that was kind of like one of those seas parted moments where just all of a sudden, there's an opening and I'm in third all of a sudden. Definitely did not deserve that. This race was kind of a disaster from me, but here we are, I guess.
It was certainly an up and down day for not only you, but the whole Lap Car Enterprises team, but you were able to salvage a relatively decent finish here tonight. But we're finally out of the 3-way gauntlet of wild tracks of Pocono, Long Beach last week, and Bent Twig here tonight. But looking ahead, we're finally back on the relatively traditional ovals. We've got Chicagoland coming up next week. It's a very fun track. We're going to see some really great multi-groove racing. What are you excited for next week, and what are you excited for the rest of the season?
I'm just excited to be off of these road courses and weird things. Back to some ovals, because those are definitely what I enjoy more in this game. So being back in the ovals will be nice. Hope we get some good racing there.
And we got 4 ovals coming up. We've got Chicagoland coming up next week. We got Anchorage coming up in 2 weeks. North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis, and Iowa to round out the season 9 schedule. But Rich, you got anything for our third place finisher here tonight after a wild comeback here for Mr. Drew Fast?
Yeah, first off, congratulations. It looked hectic out there. I know you said chaotic was the word of the day, and I think everyone can agree on that. Just talk to us about how the track felt, because it looked slicker than anyone would like out there.
Yeah, so it's interesting because like it's a very different track, obviously. The track itself has the potential to be like I don't know, if it was like 5 people who could drive the track really well, it probably would be kind of fun because it does have, like you mentioned, it's slick. It has tire wear at the end of the run. You're slipping and sliding around. Like that'd be fun. But it's very, very hard to pass when somebody's in front of you, even if you're like significantly faster than them. If they're like actually trying to prevent you from passing, so it just ended up with a lot of chaos in the beginning of just people on very different speeds, I guess, and yeah, it was a lot of chaos in the beginning. I think the track just doesn't have enough space to really race on it. But I don't know. It has potential, but I don't think.
It certainly seemed like a
I
lot
don't
of
think
drivers were struggling, especially were struggling with the elevation changes, particularly, especially coming out of turn 4 towards the back straight, and of course that final snaking S section off towards turn 6 and 7, were the really two big trouble spots we saw here for drivers tonight. It's a little bit, I'm surprised it took us an hour and a half to finally figure out a relatively decent comparison. It's if you made Martinsville into a road course and added a ton of elevation to it. I feel like is
kind of
probably the way to describe Bent Twig, but you were able to survive and finish cross the finish line in third after all the fire and flames, carrying on to get a solid podium finish. Congratulations to you, Drew. And before we let you go, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors you want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NESRN network for a third place finisher here tonight, Drew Fast, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, as always, thank you to y'all and to the people who run the servers and everything, and yeah, pretty much just thank you to everybody who puts these things on so we can run them or play them, run them, race them. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Race them.
Well, it certainly takes a village to put on these races, and it's drivers like you, competitive drivers like you, that make things definitely worth the time and admission and get things going. Drew, thank you so much for coming on here post-race, and we'll go ahead and see you next week at Chicagoland. We're back on the ovals, and that's right up your alley, man.
Thank you. Hope to be back here next week in the booth for Chicagoland.
We hope you are as well. Have a good night, man.
Good night.
User was moved out of your
That was
channel.
Drew Fast, driver of the number 4 Valvoline Dodge Charger for Lap Car Enterprises, your third place finisher here tonight at the Bent Twig Raceway. We'll bring in our runner-up finisher, driver of the number 37 Momo Mazda from Millennium Autosport, Mr. Vincenzo Focasato. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Read you, gentlemen.
Well, that was another very chaotic race here tonight. You were certainly car number 3 pretty much all throughout this evening. But just going into this race here, coming into tonight, just coming out of it especially, we knew it was going to be chaotic. Other than the word chaotic or chaos, if you had to describe tonight's race in a single word, what would you personally use?
Chaos is a darn good one. I'm struggling over here.
I'm sorry we're playing Scrabble here a little bit.
Nope, don't be sorry. I'm just terrible at the game. It's my own fault. Unorthodox. That race didn't feel normal. The way you'd go swinging up and down the order. I guess that's not necessarily unusual. Short tracks are like that a lot, but the method to get back to the front wasn't necessarily, all right, pass people, I'm faster than them. It was sit back, hold tight, hold back, and don't let any of those 7 cars that are scrambling in front of you out of your sight in case one of them gets kicked a little too far out of way to take advantage of. It was, I can't think of a track where you have to be on your toes more than here in traffic or by yourself. So if I could use more than one word, we just had to be absolutely alert at all times to the highest degree. It sounds like it was pretty stressful, but honestly, it was a ton of fun. I was looking forward to this race the entire year leading up to this point, and I'm really happy that you suggested this to Tyler and that he actually entertained the idea, because I love this track and I knew it was going to be a good race, and I had a great time out there.
Yeah, I don't know if Tyler's going to listen to any more of my track suggestions after tonight with 13 cautions on the board, but a really good battle there at the end, and we'll just walk us through the final 3 laps here, where you're the third place car where you've been sitting for the majority of the night. you've got Landon Lyle. He goes sideways. He bends it going into turn one, and you and him just right up until you get to the right back side of him, going up through turn four, going towards the back straightaway. Just walk us through that last lap and how you're able to execute your maneuver.
Well, it was more so on I don't think it was more so of an execution on my part as much as it was the condition of Landon's poor rear tires. He'd about burned them to shreds trying to get by Apollo, as you guys probably saw in the broadcast. And unfortunately, if the race were like 77 laps, he probably would have been golden, but they burned off right at the end and failed him in terms of grip right at the end. So that's the only reason I was able to get alongside him. But all I did was just try really, really, really hard not to hit him. I have been, I need to get myself together pretty badly. I've had a really bad past month at a lot of moments. I try really, really hard. I know how upsetting it is to put so much time and effort and fun into a race and then have it all come crashing down because somebody else screwed up and took you out. And I did that last Friday to multiple people, not least Keon. I still feel terrible about that. And then I wrecked Corey tonight halfway through the race for no good reason. I think he got away without damage. I hope he did, but it's something I'm not proud of. So I just want to tiptoe in there, leave an extra car's width on the outside, and see where the two of us ended up by the time we got to the final corner. And unfortunately, his tires were too burnt to get him there before I did. But yeah, still not happy with me causing that spin with wrecking Corey in the middle of the race. But I'm glad I made it to the finish in one piece, and I reckon about as good as I could have. I don't really see a realistic way in which I could have possibly beat Apollo. They did an incredible job tonight.
Yeah, and she was certainly the one to beat, right? Especially in the back half of the race when she was finally able to get around Landon and really just puts set the sails out there. And like you said, passing was really difficult at this track. But you talked about how excited you were to race this track here tonight. Of course, you were one of the few drivers that had prior online experience here. Would you say this track is a little bit like a combination of a Martinsville and just Martinsville if you made it a road course and added just a ton of up and down elevation like Watkins Glen?
I've tried thinking of anything to compare this to, and nothing's ever worked that I've thought of. It's I don't know what the folks at Windy City Racing did back in the day to create a category all its own, but I don't know how to compare racing here to anywhere else. I keep referring to it as a melted oval because frankly, that's the closest thing I can get. It looks like someone left the short track out in the sun and this thing melted like plastic. So yeah, whatever the heck it is, it's a great time to drive on. And I appreciate you guys sticking through the first half of that race because, like I said, I knew it would be a great show once we got that all out of our system, and I think the second half was enjoyable. It was from the driver's seat anyway. So yeah.
It was a lot. It was really enjoyable from the commentary booth as well. But finally, a final question before I'll turn it over to Rich. You're back on the ovals next week for the first time in 3 weeks. We got Chicagoland coming up. That's the track that everybody is going to have. Everybody is going to be looking forward to. I feel like a lot of grip, very fun track to drive. And just looking down the rest of the schedule, we've got Anchorage coming up, North Wilkesboro, another short track coming up here in just a few weeks. Iowa, Indianapolis on the horizon as well. What are you looking forward to as a driver, just trying to climb back into this championship battle after getting a really good second place finish here tonight?
Just gonna try and take them one race at a time and see how they go. I've never raced I guess I've never done open setup at Chicagoland. I've never raced at North Wilkesboro. I'm really excited to finally get the chance to race at one of the country's most historic tracks. And I think it's the same week that the Cup Series returns properly for the first time since before I was born. So even though we're only playing pretend here online, it's going to be that's really, really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And the other tracks too. Anchorage is awesome, and Indy was fun last year. And even though I'm no good at all at Iowa, it is a extremely fun track. I just have learning to do there. So yeah, got a good stretch of races. Just gonna try and keep showing up, and gonna try and clean up my act a bit and see if we can have some put on some more good shows like the GNS always does for you guys.
There's certainly been a lot of really good shows so far this season. Even though tonight was, I think, in terms of car count, our lowest roster of the season with only 19 cars starting, the fact that we've been approaching and really have been around that 19, 20 car mark, I think the high mark we've had was, 25 cars earlier on the season. The racing has been excellent. We've had some hiccups here and there with some drivers having not a whole lot of experience, but overall, it's been a lot of fun for us here over these first 6 races, and here's to the next 5. Rich, you got anything for our runner-up finisher?
First off, congratulations and happy belated birthday. You said it yourself. You had an up and down race. Just want to talk through your mentality of being involved in an incident with, I want to say, Corey, and then being last at one point, and all of a sudden almost being a second out from the victory.
Well, I gotta be honest with you both. I handled it very poorly. You guys couldn't hear the radio with the team's voice chat, but I considered myself down and out, and frankly was probably too hard on myself for that. I don't need to. I need to know better than to make my teammates and my friends sort of pick me up like that, because I shouldn't be kicking myself down so hard in the first place. But in either case, they did, and whether in any case, just for who they are, I love my friends for that. But yeah, they kept my chin up and told me to just get back into it, and that making up that ground was absolutely doable, because frankly I didn't realize that it was until we got until we got to the final stretch and I was right back up there. So that is something that worked out well, but attitude wise, it's something that I need to work on and do better during the high intensity races themselves. So gonna try and return the support that they've given me and do better with that in the future. Least that I owe them for that.
Well, it's certainly going to be a pretty good next couple of weeks for you guys as well as we're through the back end of the season. And hey, there's always room for improvement. You've seen it here so many different times and throughout so many different series here in the Fuel Racing League. And we are so excited to see what you guys in Millennium Autosport are really able to do here in these next couple of weeks. But for now, Vincenzo will give the floor once again to thank any sponsors you want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NASRN for yet another podium finish for the Michiganite, Mr. Vincenzo Focusato, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you betcha. Appreciate it, Rich, by the way, the birthday wish. I forgot to throw that in there. And I'd like to wish a very happy birthday to Mr. Alex Bignacco. That was yesterday, so kind of bummed that I couldn't give you the trophy as a slightly belated birthday present, but hope you had a happy birthday all the same. And a happy birthday today to Colin. Big day for him. Happy birthday. If you watch this at any point in the future. And yeah, shout out again to my teammates, like I said, for keeping my head on straight, even though for keeping my head on straight when I get a little too down on myself in the middle of the race, and just for being such great people and such fun people to race with. That applies to everybody here, not just the people in my race room. Thanks to Tyler and Apollo and Ike for running the show, and to you two for making the show, for producing it. Looking forward to going back and watching this race. That's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out to Cameron and Andrew. Thank you two for watching. Even if you make an active effort to take away support from me, I'll take what I can get from you two. So thank you both for tuning in. Yeah. Hi, Dad, if you're watching this at any point later in the week. All of Team EFR back home. Yeah, a lot of people who are an absolute pleasure to be able to race with and to be involved in any capacity with when it comes to NR2003. So thank you two once more, and thank everybody. And shout out to, I spent the entire month, thanks Dunn for reminding me, not shouting out everyone in the LGBT plus community. It's still Pride Month, so shout out to everyone there. Hope you're all enjoying the celebrations. And yeah, there's probably more who I am forgetting at the moment, but yeah. Thank you to, thank you Trey and Rich once more.
Well, thank you for coming here post-race, and thank you for giving us one heck of a show to really talk about there right at the end. And we'll see you at Chicagoland next week. I know this track is right up in your backyard. We'll see what you're able to do here in the Windy City next week.
Yep, looking forward to it. Thank you both once more.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Vincenzo Focusato, driver of the number 37 Momo Mazda from Millennium Autosport, your runner-up finisher here for tonight's race. We'll bring in the Lady of the Hour in our final race in June for Pride Month. It only makes sense that the Wolfmobile Subaru Apollo Hyde will get the final win
User
here
was
in
moved to your
June, and we'll
channel.
bring her right into the server here. Driver the number 100 Wolfmobile Subaru Apollo Hyde. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yes, I do.
Well, we'll first set the table a little bit and talk about the race itself. At this track, a very interesting track. I think we can all agree with it. If you had to describe this race and track, particularly more the race in general, in a single word, how would you personally describe it?
It's tough. It's a very tough track.
It was certainly a very tough race for you guys out there. You know, we were talking with a couple of people how there isn't really much to really base this off of. I think the closest that Rich and I got to was maybe Martinsville and Watkins Glen combined, with the fact that it's a very short track, there's elevation changes, and it's also somehow a road course. I don't know, how would you personally just describe this track and just how it is to race?
You really can't compare it to any other track that I can think of, and I've raced across a lot of different tracks, across a lot of different games, in a lot of different years. This doesn't race like any of them. This is truly a one-in-one experience that if you haven't raced the track before, you're just not gonna. It's not a track that you could just pick up right away. It's got a lot of nuances to it, and it's really, really difficult.
It was a very difficult track for a lot of people to pick up, and we saw that all display in the first half for the races. Tonight was the tale of two different races here tonight, with the first 40 laps, which was a caution parade through and through. The back 40 laps, I think we only had maybe, three or four cautions in that final 40 lap span. But going through the final 15-lap run after that final restart, or at that second final restart, you and Landon, who you guys have been battling it out all night long, passing was very tough, except on the restarts and longer into the runs here when you guys were on older tires. Just walk us through how you were able to get around that 75, how to keep him at bay, and just walk us through that final lap when the tires just completely went away from the 75.
Yeah, that was pretty much just the waiting game there with Landon. It was pretty clear that in order to keep up the pace, he was going to have to wear out his rear tires pretty bad. And the setup that we brought to the track is very front weight heavy. I don't want to say that it's exactly like what we would bring to New Hampshire, because there's just so many different changes that you have to make. But it's in a similar style where we have the car skewed a certain way to make it loose, and then we tighten it back up with a bunch of front weight. And Landon, I think he was running just a completely different concept, something with a lot less body roll than what we were running. And he was using that body roll to big effect. The thing is that in order to do that, you got to wear out your rear tires pretty well in order to be able to keep pace. And honestly, it was just a waiting game on the 75. It was just a waiting game of just waiting for his rear tires to go away. Just keep the stuff on my car. I knew that the car was going to be good enough. I wasn't so confident going into the race, but going through on practice and especially starting to go through the race, I'm realizing that this car that I have is really something good. And I knew I was just playing a waiting game. Once I got out to the lead, I also knew that I had to start driving a little bit more aggressive on corner exit myself. I started going down into second gear, which started using up a little bit more of the rear tires than I would have liked. The rear tires were going away on our car towards the end of that run as well. I was starting to get real squirrely, gassing the car up in second gear and making the car real loose through the final little S-bend there before the last turn, which made us overshoot the final turn a couple of times, but it didn't really come back to us because we were pretty much good everywhere else. So yeah, I figured that it was always going to be a battle between me and the 37, and the 75 stuck around for a lot longer than I thought he would. Actually, really impressed me because he was smoking them rear tires basically every single time he was pressing the throttle. And I'm just thinking to myself, how long is it before he spins himself out? And somehow it wasn't until the final lap of the race.
Yeah, that final lap, we talked about how a little bit a pre-race how, the tire wear wasn't going to be a really big factor until you get right at the very end of the run, and then it is just like a cliff, and we saw that completely take Landon Lyle out of the race, and I believe he's going to be scored a little bit deeper in the field. We'll see what the official running order will be, but, coming out of this 3-race stretch, you get 2 wins, one at Pocono and then one a fortnight later here at Bent Twig, 2 of the toughest tracks that we go to for some of these drivers. We're back on the ovals for the final 5-race stretch of the season. You got Chicagoland coming up next week. It's a relatively flat oval I know you really love to go to. I'm not sure which version of Chicagoland we're going to, but depending on the version, it's going to be a fun race through and through. Got North Wilkesboro coming up. We got Anchorage coming up. Just walk us through with the 5 races remaining in the season, especially getting the points lead back away from Wilgoss. What are you looking more towards as areas of trying to take advantage, especially in just a very deeply competitive field that we've got here this season?
Pretty much the objective the rest of the way is to just survive. We've got the points lead. That's a very good thing. I was really concerned about how we were running after Long Beach. We kind of knew that wasn't going to be a good race for us, and it was a good race until we made a very unfortunate pit call there. But with the last 5 races, the only one that I can really circle that we're going to be really good at is going to be Indianapolis, because the setup for Indianapolis is very close to what you run at Pocono. It's not identical, but it's really close to what you run at Pocono. So that's probably going to be a really good track for us. We're going to take the exact same car we ran at Pocono and then probably just tweak it a little bit. With Chicagoland, of course, we had the race where we did really well in Kansas last season. I don't know if we're going to be able to run the same thing at Chicagoland. We're going to try, and it's probably not going to work because Chicagoland's got quite a bit of more tire wear associated with it over Kansas, so I don't think we'll be able to do the same strategy. And I'm already looking at North Wilkesboro and Iowa to just be right off. So we really need to work on our short track package. It's our big weakness here. And yeah, we're just trying to survive these last 5 races pretty much.
Well, especially just given how tight things have been here between you, Will Goss, and now add Vincenzo back into the fray here for this championship battle as well. We could see things going into a 5-way or a 3-way battle for this championship. We could see a 5-way battle if Dunlop is here for a couple more races and if we get a couple more challengers as well. But Rich, you got anything for a race winner here tonight after a very tough but also relatively short race here tonight at Bent Twig?
Yeah, first off, congratulations. That track looked interesting, as you hinted at earlier. At some point, relatively before the halfway point, you had a run-in with the 13, which sent you back a few spots. What was your mentality coming through the field and getting back up into eventually the race win?
There really wasn't any doubt in my mind that we would eventually work our way back towards the front, because that was very early on in the race. Like, we're talking 20-25 laps into the race. So I really wasn't concerned at all. I knew that we were going to be able to pick off like 2 or 3 positions as we went through the race, like per restart. And eventually I was going to find myself back in the top 3. And then from there, we'll figure out, I was just trying to figure out what would happen from there. And eventually I just took advantage of a couple of mistakes from my opponents. And that's really the difference, because you really need your opponents to mess up here in order to pass. Because in order to pass on pace, you got to be at least a half a second a lap faster than who you're trying to pass, if not even more. It really requires some sort of big mistake out of your opponent to be able to get around them. So it's just a really difficult track. The tire wear obviously is a huge factor here. If we had a green flag run, I do think that the 37 was the strongest out of the 3 of us in a long run. So it kind of played to our strengths the best that we got a run that was just long enough to wear out the tires on the 75, but not quite long enough to see the 37 go past us a second time.
Yeah, and then one final thing before we'll let you go, and we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors. Of course, you've been running a very special paint scheme all throughout this month, of course, it being Pride Month here in June. And how does it feel to bring this car to victory lane to 2 races, one of them at your home track and at the Pocono Raceway, but also here today after a hard-fought, come-from-behind victory after the earlier upset?
Yeah, I've been running this very special paint scheme that basically since the start of the season. The only race that I didn't run the paint scheme was at Pocono, where I won the other race.
Oh yeah, I forgot you
I
didn't run
felt a
that
little
at
bad
Pocono.
about
So okay, so
that.
the first victory in this 100 car, I think.
Yeah, we ran, of course, we run the local sponsors when we go to Pocono, but yeah, when we're up here in the hills of Vermont for Bent Twig, we bring back the Wokemobile, and it's very nice to finally get this car in a victory lane, because we've had a car that could win a race basically every single time that we've shown up so far this season, and we've just not gotten it done. And I'm glad that we finally got it done.
Well, you certainly got it done here tonight with a pretty dominating win there in the final third of the race, and Apollo will finally give you the floor to thank any sponsors you want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NASRN for our winner here tonight after a chaotic race at the Bent Twig Raceway up here in Vermont, Ms. Apollo Hyde, the floor is yours.
Yep, we've got three crazy weekends coming up here. So obviously I'm going to plug any of my music activities. This weekend I'll actually be at a concert called Pearls Are Forever in Kensington, Maryland. I recommend checking that out. That's going to be a show that's run by one of my better friends. So I know that that's just going to be a fantastic thing to show up to. And then I'm going to be in DC again on the 5th for another meetup for Discord server. And then the Saturday after that, July 11th, Idle Gateway, which is the primary sponsor on my car. I'm going to actually be performing in that in downtown Washington, D.C. In about 2.5 weeks from now. So we've got a lot of action. These next 3 weeks are going to be absolutely insane for me. And I'm so excited to see what these next 3 weekends come up for me. And hopefully we can continue to put this Idle Gateway car towards the front and hopefully into victory lane over the next couple of weeks as we will continue to march towards our concert performance on July 11th.
Well, that's definitely going to be a lot in the front in the windshield for you here. Very busy next couple of weeks for you as well. But hey, you were able to get the job done here tonight and taking the points lead back in the process as well, taking advantage of Will Goss having some transmission issues and getting the win here tonight in a very, very, very tough facility to try and get around. Paulo, congratulations on winning from the pole here tonight, and we'll go ahead and let you celebrate with your team. We'll see you right back here at Chicagoland next week for race number 7 of Season 9.
Thank you very much, Trey. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Have a good one.
User was moved out of your
That was
channel.
Apollo Hyde, driver of the number 100 Idle Gateway Wokemobile Subaru for Marvelous Racing. Your winner here tonight at Bent Twig Raceway. And that will do it here for tonight's broadcast here. We'll go ahead and get things underway here to open things up for the post-race. Rich, your final thoughts on what was a very wild race. I feel like we've been talking like a broken record here at the end. 2 different races. The first half was the Caution Fest. The second half was really where the cream rose to the top, and we saw it rise with Apollo Hyde becoming the first driver in Season 9 to get multiple wins after in 6 races as well. To find the fact that it took 6 races for a driver to get their second win just shows how the level of competition we have here in Season 9. Your final thoughts after a wild Get Bent Grand Prix here at Bent Twig.
Well, if you thought the Grand Prix itself was wild, post-race has gotten weirder. In the time it's taken us to do the interviews, cars 75 and 64 have been hit with 1-lap penalties post-race. The 75 was penalized for his last lap spin, while car 64 had an unclaimed incident earlier on in the running. On top of that, both drivers are appealing those penalties. So I'm not sure if you have the results up, but as of 10:42 Eastern Time, the results are Apollo Hyde first, Focusata second, Fast third, Bishop fourth, Conti 5th, Bennett 6th, Grant Warren 7th, Schizato 8th, Tagler 9th, Stallhood 10th, Tyler Stallhood, Ike Durbin 11th to 12th would be Lyle, 13th Corey Stallhood, and 14th Ace Racer rounding out your finishers.
So there is some little bit of controversy going on here after just, especially that wild last lap of the race, and with everything that went on, just I feel like that was the only way we could end things off here, was just with a little bit of controversy. Of course, you never want that, but it was kind of inevitable coming into the track here tonight. I feel like, and I joked about it in the server already, Rich, we might have to add a Bent Twig to the hashtag a ban list in the server, based on just how wild of a race it was. But, talking with all these drivers here in the interviews over the last little bit, it seemed like, Bent Twig was, not as bad, at least more towards the front of the field. Drivers tended to like it a lot more compared to the drivers that were, canoodling a little bit more in the back, I would say.
I think Bent Twig it looked challenging. I know a few people are comparing it to Monaco in practice. I would honestly be in favor of it staying if we extended the race length and had our caution periods extended to our standard short track procedures. Because we saw it provide some good racing and something that we don't see a lot in NR anymore, with how gripped up some leagues run the tracks. You have to be patient. And some drivers were more patient than others, as we saw. And tire wear also came in and did come into effect. So I think if we gripped up the tire wear a little bit, extended the race length to about 100 laps, and added our short track caution, I think we would have a perfect race, honestly.
I think we would as well. We were alluding to it a little bit earlier on in the broadcast. Didn't really get a chance to say it fully, but within our 2003 online, it's been a really big topic of conversation all throughout just the entirety of when it comes to online racing. How you can't really have your traditional short track racing with some of the netcode issues, especially when you get 19 people in a server. It starts to strain a little bit, and we see it. We bring Maverick into things. Those guys do some really good racing, but the more drivers you get into the server, not only is, there's going to be so many different types of skill. There's going to be drivers that are so experienced, have got north of 1,000 races under their belt in this game. There are some drivers that we saw here tonight that are going to be firing up their engines for the first, second, or third time in their career. You come into a track, you throw them into a track like Bent Twig, where they don't have a whole lot of experience, especially coming into the practice session very late. That's already going to put them behind the 8-ball a lot, and they're going to struggle immensely. But overall, once we got into the groove, once we had some of the drivers, bow out of the race, once we leveled the field down a little bit, we saw a fantastic race. We saw a fantastic final 10-lap run where Paul Hyde got that second win of the season, and ending out our Pride June slate of races here on the NESRN for the Fuel Grand National Series. We saw the schedule a little bit earlier on, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that here as well once more. We're down to the final 5 races. We're past the midway point of the season. That was tonight. We got Chicagoland coming up next week on July 1st. Anchorage coming up in a fortnight for our only super speedway of the season. And we got North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis, and Iowa coming up as well. And, of course, taking a look at our upcoming broadcast schedule for the North American Sim Racing Network. We're back here with the majority of the races upcoming here are going to be offline races. We've got the NBCS's race at the Papyrus Motorsports Park coming up this Saturday afternoon on June 27th. And we're back from a nearly 2-month hiatus for the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park race for the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Then it's back for our 4th of July race at the Chicagoland Speedway for the Fuel Grand National Series next Wednesday night. On Thursday, July 2nd, we're going to get things going for the semifinal race of the Duncan Month of Speed for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series from Boston. Saturday, July 4th, it is the second biggest race on the calendar here on the NESRN. The Firecracker at the Glen, 250 miles, each of them representing 1 year of American history. That'll be taking place on Saturday, July 4th at high noon, and then July 5th on that Sunday night will be the Duncan Month of Speed finale, live from the Coca-Cola Super Speedway for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. But that will do it here for tonight's broadcast, and before we'll go ahead and send things off air, We'll do an official top down through the order as of right now. We do know that Apollo Hyde, 27 laps on the night, finished in the first. Vincenzo Focusado finished in the second spot, 1 second even behind the number 100 car, and Drew Fast rallied in the final few corners there to finish in third. RJ Bishop and Nicky Conti rounded out the top 5. Crystal Bennett finished in 6th. Grant War was 7th. Emi Schizzato finished in 8th. Trek Tugger finished in 9th. And Tyler Stallhood rounded out the top 10. For all 3 lap car Enterprise cars, the start of the race getting top 10 finishes. Like Durbin finished 11th. Landon Lyle currently in the 12th spot. Corey Stallhood finished in 13th. Ace Racer was scored in 14th. Will Goss finished in 15th, while Randall Coleman was the first car out of the race. Actually, Will Goss was the first car out of the race and finished 15th. Randall Coleman finished in 16th in his points debut here for Season 9. Corbin Wentz finished in 17th. Anthony Luckadoo was 18th, and Yahir Alvarado finished in 19th. Last of the cars that started their engines, completing 5 laps of the race here tonight. That'll officially do it for tonight's broadcast. On behalf of my broadcasting partners, Rich Roy and Kenny Campos, and of course for Tyler Stallhood, Apollo Hyde, and all of the Fuel Racing League, my name is Trey Wright saying so long here from Bent Twig, Vermont. We're back in the, we're officially in the back end of season number 9, the Fuel Grand National Series, as we'll see you next week from the Chicagoland Speedway on July 1st, a couple of days removed away from America's 250th birthday. Live here on the NESRN, here home for the Fuel Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. But on behalf of everybody that makes these broadcasts possible, my name is Trey Wright saying so long from Vermont. This has been a presentation of the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Fuel Racing League here on the NESRN. Have a good evening, folks. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see y'all up in the Windy City for race number 7 in a week's time.